Welcome to Dick Morris Democracy. I'm Dick Morris. Tonight I want to share with you the results of a survey I conducted among Iowa caucus goers that I finished literally Thursday night. The poll was conducted by McLaughlin & Associates on Tuesday through Thursday of this week, May 23rd to 25th, so it reflects opinions during the week DeSantis announced his candidacy. The results are astonishing. Donald Trump is way ahead. Against all Republican candidates, he gets 50% of the vote, and DeSantis, in second place, gets only 24%. In fact, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who also announced this week, is hot on DeSantis' heels with 7% of the vote. Were all the other candidates to drop out, leaving only Trump and DeSantis, Trump would still win by 18 points, 54-36. Nationally, Trump seems to be cruising to the Republican nomination. He's way ahead of DeSantis in the national polls, beating him by more than 2-1. DeSantis has only one way to stop Trump, by beating him in the Iowa caucuses, the first test of the year coming in January. To do that, he's hit on a strategy likely conceived in conjunction with a bunch of Republican establishment types like Karl Rove. They know that Iowa has a history of voting for right-wing candidates who turn out not to be acceptable to the broader Republican electorate. In 2008, Rick Santorum won Iowa. In 2012, Mike Huckabee won. In 2016, Ted Cruz got the victory. All three came out of Iowa winners and lost the nomination. At the very most, the DeSantis people and the never-Trumpers want to ambush Trump in Iowa, break his momentum in the hopes that they can stop him dead. At the least, they want to get DeSantis to take extreme right-wing positions on issues like abortion, in the hopes that Trump will embrace more moderate positions to appeal to the general electorate and in the process lose the caucuses. But if Trump won't bite and won't fall into that trap, they hope that they can force him so far to the right on abortion that he can't get enough women's votes to win in November. These folks don't really care if the Democrats win. They only care that Trump loses, and they're using DeSantis as a way to make that happen. So they got DeSantis to take an ultra-right position on abortion. No abortions after only 6 weeks of pregnancy. Most women don't even know if they're pregnant after 6 weeks. They need more time to make a rational decision about something this serious. So polls show us that 80% of the country would back a law giving them 15 weeks, one trimester, to make up their minds. But by passing a law requiring a decision in 6 weeks, DeSantis is hoping to run to Trump's right on the issue. Of course, all this ignores the fundamental fact that it was Donald Trump who scored the ultimate victory for life by appointing 3 pro-life justices to the Supreme Court who struck down Roe v. Wade. For 50 years, the pro-life movement hasn't been able to accomplish this, but Trump did it for them. But in politics, no good deed goes unpunished. And DeSantis is hoping that the difference between 6 and 15 weeks can allow him to use abortion against Trump. You see, the abortion issue dominates the Iowa caucuses, and those who vote are overwhelmingly pro-life. My survey showed that 23% want abortion banned with no exceptions, and another 53% would permit it, but only in cases of rape, incest, or the life of the mother. But these voters, a combined total of 76% of Iowa caucus goers, would permit no other abortions at all. Even DeSantis' position, allowing abortions up to 6 weeks, is too liberal for them. Normally, these voters say that they would only support a candidate who took their right-wing position on abortion. But for Donald Trump, they like him so much, they'll make an exception. When we asked them if they'd be more or less likely to vote for Trump if he urged allowing abortions up to 15 weeks, the first trimester, 10% said it would make them more likely to vote for Trump. 15% said it would make them less likely. And 70% said they didn't give a damn, it would make no difference to them. They're for Trump, period. In fact, by 76-22, they agreed with this statement, quote, Donald Trump did something to protect the unborn no other public official has been able to do. He appointed enough pro-life judges to the Supreme Court to overrule Roe v. Wade. He's proven his commitment to life, and the election coming up this year is too important to risk by taking an extreme position on abortion. We should stick with Trump no matter what, unquote. But remember, Iowa is different from the other states in the way they choose their candidate. Most states have a primary where the voters show up, spend 3 minutes in the voting booth, go home, and watch the numbers on television. But in Iowa, they use a caucus system. That means that you have to spend 3 hours at least voting. First, even if it's snowing and raining, you have to get to the caucus location, which is often far from your house. When you get there, the chairman calls the caucus to order, and after a prayer and the national anthem, he tells the Trump people to go to one corner, the DeSantis people to another corner, the Scott people to a third, and so on. Then if your candidate doesn't have enough votes to win a delegate, you go to one of the other corners so you can vote for your second choice. This takes hours, so you really have to want your vote to be counted to stick around. No casual supporter would take the time. So the true believers have a big edge, and they often outvote the less fanatical among us. That's what Rove and DeSantis are counting on. Will Trump be able to use his record as president and his consistency in fighting for our beliefs to overcome DeSantis' gimmick? That's the stake in Iowa.